Okay, we are going to do a complete and thorough breakdown of gas prices. Damn, it's hot outside. We are going to go through each link in the supply chain, and I'm going to take you from the crude oil coming out of the ground to what you're paying at the pump and who is making what money. So to start, we're going to use West Texas Intermediate crude oil. That is what we typically use in the United States to gauge all this stuff. It is currently $80.25 a barrel. The break-even price for West Texas Intermediate crude oil in the Permian Basin is $50 a barrel on average right now. So to break that down a little bit deeper, it's costing oil companies on average 84 cents a gallon per gallon to get a gallon of oil out of the ground. And since they're selling it at $80.25 a barrel, that is $1.91 per gallon, which is a 62% gross profit margin. So the oil leaves location or leaves the storage facility and goes to the refinery, $1.91 per gallon, $80.25 per barrel out the door. The refinery takes the barrel of oil. They make 20 gallons of gas, 13 gallons of diesel, about 2.5 gallons of jet fuel, and the rest is used to make feedstock for petrochemicals, asphalt, propane, things like that. I am going to use spot wholesale gas prices for the Gulf Coast because Texas is going to be the state we're going to use as an example. So wholesale gasoline on the Gulf Coast, that is the price that a retailer pays for it from the distributor or the refiner, is $2.87 a gallon. So the refiner pays $80.25 for a barrel of oil, and here's what they make for what they make. For the gasoline that they make out of that barrel of oil, they earn $57.40. For the diesel, they earn $37.60. For the jet fuel, they earn about $10. For the asphalt, feedstock stuff, and all that other stuff, it's like another $10. So they're making $114 per barrel coming out the door. So $80.25 in, $114 out. So the gasoline leaves the refinery, $2.87 a gallon. This is Gulf Coast gas in the state of Texas. It gets to the retailer, 40 cents is slapped onto it for state and federal taxes. That's the state of Texas. It's about 40 cents for state and federal taxes both. So that gets your price up to $3.27 a gallon before the retailer makes a penny. So what is the average gas price in the state of Texas? It's $3.46 a gallon. So what does that mean? That means that on average, retailers in the state of Texas are marking up gas about 19 cents. So they're making about 19 cents a gallon on a gallon of gas, which is 6%. Now, what I don't know is what it cost the state and federal government to levy a tax on someone. I do know that 12% of the cost of a gallon of gas that you pay goes to the state and federal government. So that's a 12% tax based on current gas prices. If gas prices drop, that tax rate increases because they still get the same amount of money no matter what. Now, to compare this with the state of California, their state and federal taxes on a gallon of gas is about 19% of the cost that you pay at the pump, which means if gas prices drop in California, that tax rate goes up exponentially even more. Now, who has the most control over that price? Over 99% of the oil companies in the United States don't sell any gasoline whatsoever. They only sell oil, natural gas, and natural gas liquids. And what that means is that $1.91 a gallon or that $80.25 a barrel that they're selling that oil for, that's where their profits end. In addition, they pay all of the transportation costs to get the oil and natural gas liquids from wherever they make it to wherever it goes. They pay for that. As you move down the supply chain, the amount of control you have over those prices increases. So when you get to the refining part, when you get to the midstream part, they have much more control over gas prices than oil companies do. The state and federal government, they have much more control over gas prices than the refiners do and the oil companies do. And lastly, the retailers. The retailers have the most control over what they charge, but they don't charge that much, so it really doesn't matter. So when you look at purely the amount of control they have and how much they can impact gas prices, the refiners definitely have the most power in price control. Now, there is a caveat to that I'm going to cover, and then I'm going to go over what each chain of that supply chain, what each link in that supply chain, what they earn, and how that gets you to what you pay. So the caveat is Exxon, Chevron, and BP all own the complete supply chain. They own oil companies, they own refiners, they own pipelines, and they franchise retailers. So those three companies have a lot of control over what gas prices are at their pumps. But like I said, over 99% of the oil companies in the United States have no control over that. Okay, so when you buy a gallon of gas, who gets what? So $1.82 of that is the cost of the oil. So the oil company gets $1.82, and it costs them $1.19 to make that $1.82. So they're making, 63 cents on the raw material. $1.05 of the price you pay at the pump goes to the refiner. And their cost to get $1.05 is about 42 cents. So the refiner is making 63 cents as well. What they get is 77 cents less than what the oil company gets for the raw material, but they're making the same 63 cents. And once again, 40 cents for state and federal taxes, 19 cents to the retailer. Remember, this is in the state of Texas, where state and federal taxes are 12%, right? And once again, in California, state and federal taxes are 19%. So that's a pretty deep dive. That's a pretty deep dive in gas prices, and I hope you learned something today. Thank you.